evening, everyone. It is just a couple of minutes before 7 p.m. here this evening on Wednesday, May 8th, and welcome into another update here regarding the severe weather threat that's ongoing across the southern portion of the state, and that threat is going to continue through this evening and now into early tonight as well. If you were with us earlier, a couple hours ago during the afternoon, we had the first round of severe weather that moved across much of southern Illinois, brought large hail, damaging winds, even a couple of tornadoes occurred this afternoon with the first round of activity. Well, that round of activity has moved off way down here into Kentucky and Tennessee now. That was the first round of activity. Now we have the second round of activity now moving in. We do have a couple of severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings now in effect from the Centralia and Mount Vernon area back down towards the Illinois-Missouri border as well. So this round of activity is now moving into southwestern Illinois, and it is going to move east and also east-southeast across a good chunk of southern Illinois here over the next couple of hours this evening and into early tonight. So some of the same, actually many of the same areas that saw some severe weather just a couple of hours ago with the first round, you are now going to be seeing severe weather with the second round now coming in as well. And the second round is kind of broken up into two pieces right now. You got this activity up here moving into Illinois, and then there's this activity way back down here towards the Branson, Missouri region here. So there's a little bit of a gap in between right now. But what we're expecting to have happen is this activity now moving into Illinois, like I said, is going to move east and east-southeast across southern Illinois. And then this activity all the way back down here across south-central Missouri, that activity is then going to move generally in an easterly direction, and that could come into far southern Illinois here as we work deeper into the evening and not overnight tonight, but early tonight. So if you're down in Cape Girardeau area, the Paducah area, you folks really haven't seen too much yet, but your activity could be coming in here with the tail end of the round 2 activity here. This could eventually make it down there into the southern tip of Illinois several hours from now. So with that said here, let's take a look at the radar here with the second round of severe weather activity now coming into the state, moving through southwestern Illinois, eventually getting into southern Illinois here. We do have a tornado warning for Perry County. This is Perry County right here. This pink box, this is a tornado warning for Perry County, including the Pinckneyville area. And that is for the possibility of this line of severe thunderstorms not only being capable of producing some damaging winds, but it also may be capable of producing some tornadoes as well. This is almost what you would call pretty much a QLCS situation. So it's a small QLCS here, also known as a line segment of severe thunderstorms here, and some of these are showing a little bit of rotational signatures here and there within this line. So, like I said, not only is this line capable of producing damaging winds as it moves off towards the east, but it is also capable of producing tornado threat with it as well. So as we switch over to the wind velocities here, you could start to see these brighter green colors showing up here. So those could be wind gusts upwards of 50, 60 miles per hour coming into almost the Centralia area up north, going to be coming towards Mount Vernon here, coming through the Pinckneyville area now, going to be heading towards the Benton area eventually as well. Centralia, severe thunderstorm warnings actually just to your south, but not by much. Mount Vernon, you're under severe thunderstorm warning. Benton, you're under severe thunderstorm warning. Marion, Carbondale, all of you folks are under severe thunderstorm warnings as well. And it's for this line that is moving generally in an east to east-southeast direction that is bringing some damaging winds being possible here. Like I said, you can see these brighter green colors. Those are the radar wind velocities showing winds up to 50, up to 60 miles per hour. So some wind damage is possible with the storms as well. Another thing here to notice, we do have sharp gradients in some areas. For example, right near Pinckney, there's this very sharp gradient here. where there's a lot of inflow coming into this line, and there's a lot of wind coming out of this line as well. And sometimes you can get those quick little spin-up tornadoes around there. So that's why Perry County here is under that tornado warning until 7:30. And that would be right along this gradient here, would be the best chance for that potential tornado potential. And in this case, it's right near the community of Pinckneyville right now there in central Perry County. So once again, we're dealing with this line of severe thunderstorms. This is the second round of activity we've now seen today. That first round moved through this afternoon, bringing widespread severe weather to southern Illinois. There was hail, damaging winds, even a couple of tornadoes occurred. So this is the second round of severe weather that we were expecting here. You can see this line of severe thunderstorms here. And like I said, it is moving in an east and an east-southeast direction. So for you folks, pretty much, let's say, all within this corridor roughly here, this is probably going to be your best chance to see that severe weather threat over the next couple of hours here. So places like Mount Vernon, Benton, Marion, Carbondale, Harrisburg, McLeansboro, Fairfield, Carmi. I know the only area is somewhere hiding in here too. All of you folks will be at risk for that severe weather potential coming up here with this second round of activity that is going to be moving through over the next couple of hours. Now also, once again, we have some activity. This is kind of an elongated, you can see this is pretty much a big area here for round two. There's a little bit of a gap in here right now. We'll see if that fills in. But also part of round two is way back here in southern Missouri. As this moves off towards the east, it will get into southern Illinois, as it looks like, the far southern tip of Illinois. So if you're down in the Cape Girardeau area, the Paducah area, this activity down here in southern Missouri will be working your way as we head deeper into this evening and into early tonight. Now, as it stands, it does look like all of this activity will move across southern Illinois and out of the area by midnight. So that's how it looks right now. So pretty much from now, which is we're just after 7 p.m. now, all the way through midnight. That's kind of the time frame we're going to continue to watch for the severe weather potential to be likely across the southern portion of the state. The good news is, as we push deeper into tonight, that severe risk will finally come to an end. And I could actually show you that here on one of our weather forecast models. This is pretty much current time right now. And as you can see, this model is doing a really good job of showing what we have going on right now. You can see the first round of activity, like I said, has now moved down into Kentucky and Tennessee. We have the second round of activity, this activity moving into southern Illinois now. And then we have that other chunk of the second round of activity back down towards south central Missouri, and that's going to move towards the southern tip of Illinois over the next several hours. So as we go forward into time, here you go. You see this activity that's currently moving into southern Illinois continues to move across those areas. You also can see that activity that was out here across south central Missouri now starts to move towards southern Illinois as well. And then as we work into early tonight, there you go. That activity does move into the far southern tip of Illinois. So once again, places like Cape Girardeau area, down towards the Paducah area, for example, you folks could get some of that activity as that stuff moves out of southern Missouri into the southern tip of Illinois. And then here we go. As we get to, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning here, that activity sweeps well to the south of the state of Illinois, and the severe weather threat will come to an end. So pretty much like I said, from right now, 7 p.m. all the way through midnight is our severe weather risk continuing across southern Illinois, and then that severe weather risk should come to an end by midnight. Now, for you folks further north across northern Illinois, you're not seeing any sort of severe weather, but it is looking quite likely that you folks across the northern part of the state will get some rain, maybe some isolated thunderstorms overnight tonight and into the day on Thursday as well. So that's the northern half of the state. Parts of northern and central Illinois, you could get some rain showers, isolated thunderstorms overnight tonight and into your Thursday as well, but no severe weather expected up there. Like I said, severe weather threat is generally going to be down here across southern Illinois between now, this evening, through midnight tonight, and then that severe weather threat will come to an end down there as well. So let's hop back over here, get to our radar again. Looks like they have extended the tornado warning here. So we now also have a tornado warning in effect for a little bit larger portion of southern Illinois now. So we also have a tornado warning that is now in effect for portions of Perry, Jefferson, and Franklin counties. And that's until 7:45 p.m. And once again, that's associated with this line of severe thunderstorms here. And there is the possibility, especially in this portion of the line here, that it could be potentially capable of producing tornadoes as it heads off towards the east. So once again, if you are in portions of Perry, Jefferson, and also Franklin County, you have the opportunity to pick up some severe weather coming up here, capable damaging winds and tornado potential with this. And let's zoom back in here to get a look once again at the radar wind velocities on this. And as you can see, these brighter green colors in here, let's actually switch that over to a different color. So these brighter greens colors in here, that's would be the damaging wind threat as it moves east here. And then you'll also notice kind of right here, there's this interesting area where it's a very sharp gradient, almost tries to form a little bit of a couplet right in here. That would be where we would be watching for that potential for possible tornadic activity develop. Kind of right in here, and that is moving off towards the east. So with that said, once again, to reiterate, we are dealing with a tornado warning until 7:45 p.m. for portions of Perry, Jefferson, and Franklin counties. And that is for this line of severe thunderstorms that is capable of potentially producing a tornado with it. And we're going to stick with this and continue to watch this over the next little while here as this continues to shift off towards the east. And not only is it capable of producing a tornado, like I said, this whole line here where you see this brighter green color all in here, this would be the possibility for maybe upwards of 50 to 60 mile per hour winds that could be capable of producing some wind damage as well, which is why not only are we having tornado warnings in effect here, but we also have some severe thunderstorm warnings in effect right now as well. But the area of most interest right now is sort of in central Perry County right here. And that is where we have a sharper reflectivity gradient right here, sharper velocity gradient as well. And right along there, we're getting a little bit more push of wind coming out of that line of storms, a little bit better inflow into that line of storms as well right there. And that's kind of forming a little bit of a loose, weak couplet right there. So that is where there would potentially be the possibility of a tornado threat right in that corridor. Right there. So if you are in places like the Pinckneyville area, more so just to your southeast in Pinckneyville now, Sunfield, DeQuoin here, eventually over towards Christopher, Cesar, Benton, Ewing, Inna, Akin, all these little communities out there, down there, once again, that's portions of Perry County, Jefferson County, also parts of Franklin County as well. We're going to continue to watch this. So these severe thunderstorms are associated with the second round of activity that we have seen today. And I'm going to actually put this radar in motion for you just to give you an idea of where this has come from and where it's going. And as you can see here, this activity started out in Missouri, moved St. Louis areas up here, so this just missed most of the St. Louis area a little bit earlier here. But once again, you can see this activity generally moving off in an easterly direction. The tail end of it may be a slight more east-southeasterly direction here as we've gone through time over the past 2 to 3 hours or so. All right, here, let's zoom back in a little bit. I just want to take a look at that. And now we'll actually switch over to the video chat here. And let's get to a couple comments and questions here, why don't we? So let's see here. Cheryl checking in, wondering if Nick is chasing or anyone is chasing. I believe Adam is chasing. I believe so, but I think he's down in Kentucky. I'm pretty sure, but no one else from our team here is chasing today. Brian checking in from the Chicago area. No, not expecting any sort of good storms up around Chicago tonight. Maybe some rain tonight into tomorrow. Maybe an isolated thunderstorm, but that's just about it as it looks up north. Paige checking in from the Centralia area. The northern part of this storm just clipped the Centralia area up here. So you might have gotten some gusty winds. You're probably getting some heavy rain right now as well. But the good news is for you in Centralia, now that this line is passing off to your east, your severe weather threat is pretty much going to be done now. So some good news there. All right, here, Linda checking up in Belvedere, Allison up in Lockport, Kayla in Belvedere, Linda, Boone County. Anyone up north, if you live in northern and central Illinois, no severe weather for you. This is all southern Illinois and only southern Illinois, south of I-70. So like I said, if you're in northern Illinois checking in, whether you're Quad Cities or the Chicago area or Rockford, or if you're in central Illinois, it doesn't matter if you're in Quincy, Springfield, Bloomington, Peoria, Champaign. Doesn't matter where you are in northern and central Illinois, you are not going to see any severe weather threat up there. However, you are going to see a little bit of rain, maybe a little bit of thunderstorm activity, especially as we move through overnight tonight and into Thursday as well. All right, here, let's continue on here, back to the radar now. So as we can see here, this line continues to progress off towards the east here. There continue to be a couple little interesting areas where we try to get a little bit of a, let's say, loose, weak rotational signature here on radar. There's one right now in the Perry County area. There's actually another one up here in Jefferson County, just north of Mount Vernon. A little bit of a sharper gradient up there, maybe a little bit of weak rotation up there as well. So that's something we're going to continue to watch for, is these little areas right along this line of storms that may be capable of producing a quick, brief spin-up. But outside of that, we're still expecting the possibility of some damaging winds with this line of storms, and also the possibility maybe of a little bit of small hail as well. And then obviously maybe the possibility of a quick spin-up tornado with some of this activity as it continues to spread off towards the east as well. All right, here, see, we have a couple more comments and questions here. See, Chanel checking in from the Salem, Illinois area. That's up there just north of the Centralia area. You're under a severe thunderstorm right now. You're probably getting a pretty good thunderstorm right now. Maybe some gusty winds you're seeing, probably some heavy rainfall as well. But once that line moves to your east, Salem, Marion, up there, your threat is going to come to an end. Marion County, that is, with the community of Salem there. All right, here. So that's the gist of it here as we continue on. We do still have these 2 tornado warnings in effect for portions of Perry, Jefferson, and Franklin counties, though that both tornado warnings are in effect until about 7:45 or so, and that is for this line of severe thunderstorms that not only is capable of producing damaging winds, as you can see here, represented by these brighter green colors, probably winds upwards of 50-60 miles per hour, but there's also a couple of areas where there's a little bit of a sharper gradient, maybe a little bit of weak rotation in there, transient weak rotation, and these areas are spreading off towards the east as well. So a couple of areas we're watching for maybe an isolated tornado threat as well. The first one down here in the vicinity of Sunfield, down here in Perry County. That little area of some loose organized rotation there. Going to continue east eventually towards the community of Benton. So definitely going to want to watch that in Franklin County here. Also another little area to watch here up near Dix, up near the Mount Vernon area in Jefferson County. That's also going to track off towards the east as well. So without a doubt, looking at a damaging wind threat, also some threat of hail as well. And then also these little areas of rotation that pop up from time to time in these QLCSs, quasi-linear convective systems. Pretty much a fancy word for a squall line, or in this case, this is more of a line segment, very small QLCS here. And you can see it kind of takes this bow shape here, dealing with some damaging winds with these storms and also that tornado threat with some of them as well. All right, trying to get some more information to see if there's anything new with any of these tornado warnings. No real update on these tornado warnings. Nothing confirmed at this point in time, so some good news there. So good news there. Like I said, no confirmation on any of these tornado warnings as of right now. But nonetheless, we do still have tornado warning in effect for Perry, Franklin, and Jefferson counties, portions of those counties, and that's until 7:45 p.m. And that's for this kind of miniature QLCS situation that we have going on here. And this line is going to continue to track off towards the east. Mount Vernon, you're about to get hit probably with some gusty winds and hail, just right about now probably. If you're in the community of Benton, this is headed your way very shortly as well. If you're out in the Fairfield area, that's Wayne County, this is going to be heading your way soon as well. You're under severe thunderstorm warning now. So many areas could be under the gun for this. Even up in Flora, in the Olney area, up here at the top of the screen, this part of the line is sort of headed more in a northeasterly direction up there. So even if you're up in Olney, the Flora corridor up there, you're under severe thunderstorm warning for some damaging winds and hail. As I mentioned, Fairfield area, this will be coming your way as well. Down towards McLeansboro. Eventually, Carmi could get it as well. And then obviously it's going to be coming into Benton very shortly here. And it's pretty much right on top of the Mount Vernon area, probably getting some gusty winds, maybe some hail right now as well. All right, here, see Tamara checking in from Enna. I believe that's how it's pronounced, and you are under that tornado warning here. I'm going to circle you on the map right here. So you're right there. That's where you're located, and this arc of storms here is going to be moving your way very shortly. You are under that tornado warning. Let's check out the radar wind velocities here. Does look like some gusty winds, like I said, are going to be headed your way in your community here very shortly as well. Wanda wondering how fast these storms are moving. So these storms are moving at a pretty good clip. Generally between 40 to 50 miles per hour is the speed on these storms right now. So they're moving off, at a pretty steady, decent clip here. So like I said, if you're in Fairfield, down through McLeansboro, Carmi, down in the Benton area, you will all be impacted here probably within the next hour or so. So if you're in any of those communities or anywhere nearby, pretty much if you're in Wayne County, down through Hamilton County, down through Franklin County, you're all up next for this line of storms to move in. Eventually, even if you're out in Edwards, Wabash, White County, maybe northern, what is this county here? Northern Williamson County probably will get in on this eventually. Maybe northern Saline County, Gallatin County as well. So many of these counties are going to be under the gun for some severe weather here as we go through the next couple of hours as this miniature QLCS kind of moves across southern portions of the state here, producing some damaging winds, some hail, and also the possibility for a couple of brief spin-up tornadoes as well. And I see that everyone is correcting the way that I'm saying all of these towns, and I thank you for that because a lot of times they're not pronounced the way that they look. So it looks like I said Inna, it's actually Ina, and I said Carmi, and it's actually Carmi. So thank you for that. Hopefully I remember that. But yeah, I know a lot of times, especially the smaller communities, they're actually pronounced a little bit differently than they actually look, look how they're written. So with that said, we do continue to deal with this severe weather. And then also I wanted to zoom out just a little bit here once again, because this activity back here still that came out of the Branson, Missouri area continues to chug off towards the east here. So once again, if you're across the far southern tip of Illinois, places like Cape Girardeau, across Pulaski, Massac counties, maybe Pope County, anywhere down there, Union County, for example, the Paducah area, all of you folks could deal with some of that severe weather activity coming out of southern Missouri in a couple of hours from now. So that's going to be something to watch for you folks down there. But in the meantime, we do have that, obviously, round 2 of severe weather activity affecting southern Illinois at this point in time. We do have several tornado warnings in effect, several severe thunderstorm warnings in effect as well. The tornado warning for portions of Franklin, Jefferson, and Perry County, which includes the community of Benton. That tornado warning continues to be in effect until 7:45 p.m. And then we have numerous other portions of the state under severe thunderstorm warning. So as of it's about almost 7:25 p.m. now. We have some severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for portions of southern Clay, southern Richland, Wayne County, Hamilton County, parts of White County, Jefferson County, Franklin County, Williamson County, Jackson County. So there are several counties that are under severe thunderstorm warnings as well at this point in time. And once again, it is for this kind of miniature QLCS that's moving across southern Illinois right now to the east and the east-southeast, and it has the possibility of producing, like I said, damaging winds, some large hail, and an also isolated tornado threat as well. So let's take another look here at the radar wind velocity here, see if there's anywhere that's showing the potential for maybe a brief spin up. Still seeing a little bit of a sharp gradient up here just north of Mount Vernon. That's up there in Jefferson County. I would watch that. A little bit of a sharp gradient there. Maybe a little bit of broad rotation still down here. That would be parts of Perry County here. Just to the southeast of St. John's, just to the southeast of Sunfield, down here in Perry County. That's an area I'd watch too. A little bit of broad rotation still going on with that particular storm as it moves off towards the east. It's going towards North City, Christopher, over towards the community of Benton eventually as well over there in Franklin County. So a couple areas we continue to watch, maybe for some brief spin-ups, but otherwise these storms without a doubt are capable of producing some damaging winds and hail as well. All right, here, let's head back over to the video chat. Haley Donna checking in from LaSalle County and Rochelle area. Maybe some rain, isolated thunderstorms for you tonight and into Thursday, but no severe weather threat up there at all. Kimberly saying that the map is so small you can't see the locations. You're saying towns and some don't know where they are. My answer to that would be I cannot make the town names on the map really any bigger than they are. Otherwise, it would clutter things up too much. I would suggest turning your phone in horizontal mode so it makes this video a little bit bigger. But essentially, I'm calling out the towns in the area down here that are being affected, and I'm calling out a lot of the counties as well. So if you're hearing towns or counties you don't know of, that means it's probably not happening near your area, and you probably don't have to be concerned in the first place either. Connie checking in Lake and Hills, Angelica up in Ford County, northern central Illinois, like I said, no severe weather up there, so some very good news up there. Briefly, though, I did want to mention that the National Weather Service in Chicago did confirm that an EF0 tornado occurred yesterday afternoon, Tuesday afternoon, up in northern Boone and northern McHenry County. So once again, the National Weather Service in Chicago has confirmed that an EF0 tornado did occur yesterday afternoon up along the Wisconsin border in northern Boone, northern McHenry County area, not far from the Harvard area. So just a little bit of news that I wanted to pass along all to you. And with that said, back to our current situation here once again, which is the severe weather situation across southern Illinois. And we do have this, let's call it a miniature QLCS here that continues to move off towards the east and the east-southeast here across southern Illinois, and it is capable of not only producing damaging winds and hail, but once again, we do still have one tornado warning in effect here for portions of Perry, Jefferson, and Franklin counties, including the community of Benton. And what's going on here is, over this broad area here, we are watching for the potential with some damaging winds here over this broad area as this activity moves off towards the east. But another thing we're watching for is a couple of spin-ups from time to time. There's a sharper reflectivity and velocity gradient right here, right along the Perry-Franklin County border. Maybe a little bit of loose rotation in there, so that would be one spot to watch for. Maybe an isolated tornado spin-up in that area, but also could be dealing with some damaging winds in that area as well. So that's one area that I would watch. Like I said, that's right along the Franklin-Perry County border here. Going to be moving towards the community of Benton here very shortly as well. And it does look like we have a new tornado warning in effect up here. So if you might recall, several minutes ago, I mentioned that there was a little bit of a signature showing up north of Mount Vernon near the community of Dix. Well, guess what? The National Weather Service has now issued a tornado warning for that little bit of transient rotation right here in northeastern Jefferson County, about to move into Wayne County here. So we do have a new tornado warning now in effect, like I said, for Wayne and Jefferson County, and that is in effect until 8:15 p.m. So this line of severe thunderstorms is not only capable of producing, like I said, some damaging winds and hail, but it is also capable of producing maybe a couple of isolated spin-ups as well. So that's going to be something we continue to watch for as we continue to track all of this activity with the second round of severe weather today across these areas. All right here, so zooming back in here because this activity is about to move into the Benton area down here in Franklin County. So once again, this is an area we're watching here. Tornado warning for portions of Perry, Jefferson, Franklin counties, including the community of Benton. This activity at least is probably going to produce some gusty winds, maybe damaging winds, some hail as well, maybe an isolated spin-up of a tornado with it as well as it continues to head towards the community of Benton as well. So we continue to watch all of this unfold here, and we are going to continue to watch this as we go forward into time here. Let me see if I can get any new updated information here. Still not seeing any confirmation of any tornadoes with any of this activity. So that's some really good news there, because we did see a couple of tornadoes this afternoon with the first round of activity that moved across southern Illinois. All right, so we've switched over to the Evansville, Indiana radar now, which is going to give us a slightly better view of this activity coming into Wayne County here out of Jefferson County. And one thing you're going to notice right off the bat here, see how these colors right in here get very, very bright, these bright, almost green, blue colors in here, a lot of turquoise. Those are likely some damaging winds in excess of 60 miles an hour coming into Wayne County right now. So if you're in Wayne City, if you're in Fairfield, Renard, Mount Erie, Golden Gate, pretty much anywhere across Wayne County, you're probably going to see some damaging winds over 60 miles per hour in those areas. Another thing I'm noticing here is there is a little bit of a notch in here as well. So notice how this line kind of takes a little bit of a notch in there. That's sometimes where you can get a little bit of a brief spin up of a tornado in there, kind of right up in this corridor right here where that notch would be. So that's going to be something we watch for as well. Once again, you can kind of see how this reflectivity comes up like this, and right in here, there's that little bit of a notch. Sometimes you could get a spin up of a tornado in there, and that is why they issued that tornado warning, like I said, for portions of Wayne County here in southern Illinois. So we're going to continue to watch this as things continue to progress off towards the east here over the next couple of hours. Let's switch back down here, and let's head back down a little bit further south. We have a new severe thunderstorm here coming into the Paducah area right now. So anyone tuning in from the Paducah area, yes, I know it's technically on the Kentucky side, but it's still a major city right on the border of Illinois here. So if you happen to be tuning in from the Paducah area, you folks are under a severe thunderstorm warning for the potential of maybe some hail and some damaging winds with this severe thunderstorm that has developed and is now moving through the Paducah area. Now, heading back up north again, let's check on that tornado warning for portions of Franklin and Jefferson counties, including the community of Benton. We're still seeing this sharper gradient here of wind velocity here. And sometimes, like I said, sometimes when you get these situations here, you have the inflow going into the storm, you have the wind outflow or the damaging winds coming in here. Sometimes you could get little brief spin-ups, and right there would be where I would watch for maybe to see one right now, very close to the community of Christopher, going to be coming towards the Benton area right now. The good news is, like I said, we have not had any confirmation of tornadoes with any of this new round of activity coming in right now, but nonetheless, this activity is capable of maybe producing some of that activity as well. Let's hop back over to the video chat here. Angela checking in, wondering if there's any severe weather threat up in the Aurora area. No, there is not. Once again, anyone at all tuning in from northern and central Illinois, virtually no severe weather threat for you folks up there for today, tonight, or tomorrow for that matter either. Now, you will get some rain and thunderstorms up across northern and central Illinois, especially as we head overnight tonight and into Thursday as well, but no severe weather expected up across those areas, so some good news regarding that. All right, so let's hop back over here and get another look at these tornado warnings here. Once again, a couple of tornado warnings in effect. First of all, for Wayne County until 8:15 p.m. Also, tornado warning for southern Jefferson, northern Franklin County. That's until 7:45 p.m. And that is for this activity here, which continues to spread off towards the east. And it is continuing to be capable of producing damaging winds and also some hail, and then also an isolated tornado threat with it as well. And for you folks up in Wayne County, we're going to zoom back in on Wayne County here. Wayne County, you have the possibility of seeing some damaging winds spreading across Wayne County right now, actually. And you'll notice here how this radar wind velocity kind of takes this little notch right there. So right in this notch area here, that would be the possibility we would look for where there could be a brief spin-up. Brief tornado spin-up being possible right there in Wayne County. So that's going to be coming towards Jeffersonville here very shortly. But even if there is no tornado, still going to be seeing damaging winds and some large hail with this line of severe thunderstorms as it pushes through Wayne County here over the next little while. This is pretty much Wayne County right here that I'm squaring off. So you can see this is coming directly through the heart of Wayne County. All right, here. And backing out a little bit further, let's head back to the Paducah radar here really quickly. Once again, I wanted to point out there are some severe thunderstorms in southern Missouri. There's a decent chance that this activity will eventually make it off towards the east and affect far southern Illinois here as we head later into this evening and early tonight to places like Alexander County, Pulaski County, Massac County, the Paducah area, Cape Girardeau area. If this activity in southern Missouri does make it to you, some of that could have a severe weather threat just a couple of hours for now. But the main focus right now is this potent line of severe thunderstorms working through here. And it does look like we do have some severe weather reports here. So let's start to read off some of those severe weather reports that we've seen here. Off in Waterloo in Monroe County, report of tree branches down. Over in Redbud, We have a report of power poles and tree damage in Redbud, and I know we did have someone tuning in from Redbud during our afternoon coverage. Also, a report in Eden, Randolph County, of several trees and power lines down in the Sparta area. A report from Holyton, Washington County, trees and power lines down in town. Report of quarter-size hail in Pinckneyville as these storms have moved through. And more recently, we have a report out of Bluford, that's in Jefferson County, of some tree branches down. Also a report of 70-mile-per-hour winds reported in Mount Vernon. So these storms do have a history of producing not only some hail, but also some wind damage with them as well. Seeing a report here out of Salem, out in Marion County, I should say, of water flowing over some roadways and some railroad tracks in town. That's in Salem and Marion County. So not only are we seeing severe weather risk, we're also seeing some localized flooding with some of this activity as well. So let's take a look here once again at the radar wind velocities. So what happens is when you start to see these really, really bright colors showing up here on the map, that represents higher wind gusts here. So when you start to see these really, really bright greens and bright blues starting to show up there, almost a turquoise color in there, those are winds probably in excess of 60 miles per hour, and that's coming right across Wayne County. Once again, Wayne County is pretty much right here, so if you're in Jeffersonville, you're about to get hit with some gusty winds. Fairfield area, Mount Erie as well. So all of you folks in Wayne County are going to be picking up probably some damaging winds here very shortly. Another thing you may notice here is look at how this takes on a very wavy pattern here. When you start to see that wavy pattern in the radar wind velocities, sometimes you can get brief spin-ups in some of those areas. So that's going to be something we're going to start to watch for here as this continues to move off towards the east, and that is why a tornado warning is in effect. Once again, tornado warning in effect for Wayne County until 8:15 p.m. I do have some good news. The National Weather Service has canceled the tornado warning that was in effect for Perry, Jefferson, and Franklin counties has been canceled. Once again, tornado warning for Franklin, Perry, and Jefferson counties has been canceled. But we do continue to hold on to a tornado warning here for Wayne County, including for you folks in Fairfield, Jeffersonville, Mount Erie, Golden Gate. And that is for this line of severe thunderstorms that is not only capable of producing damaging winds, but for some areas up north here, it's also capable of producing maybe a couple of quick spin-up tornadoes as well. And we're going to continue to watch this as it progresses off towards the east here. All right, here, let's get into some comments and questions here. Rebecca checking in. Why is this so small? You can't make it bigger. It does not do me any good if I can't see how it affects me. That is why I am naming off all of the towns and the counties as well. I know that it's very hard to read the fine details like the city names and the county names on the map. I know it's hard to read them. If you turn your phone on a more horizontal side instead of up and down, if you put it in landscape mode, it does make the video a little bit bigger for you. I know it's still harder to read the city names on here sometimes. Really can't make the names bigger without jumbling up the map too much, which is why I'm actually saying all of these city names and county names out loud. So if I'm saying city names and county names you don't know or have never heard of, this is probably not coming your way and you don't need to pay attention in the first place. So that's the way I would take that for this sort of situation. But once again, for you folks, Southern Illinois, we continue to watch what's really starting to turn into a nice bow here. This is when you really start to see that damaging wind situation start to increase here. When you start to see these complexes really start to take on this bow shape here, we start to see that really rush of air coming in here, damaging wind potential. And then when we look at the radar wind velocities, this shows you it right here. So when you really start to see these really, really bright colors here, that shows you that there are some damaging winds that are occurring right in this area right here. So once again, much of Wayne County, you have a very good chance of seeing some damaging winds in much of Wayne County. See a new damage report from Mount Vernon of trees down and power outages in Mount Vernon. So this storm is most definitely producing some damaging winds with it as it continues to slide off towards the east here. And severe thunderstorm warnings have now been expanded all the way to the Indiana border. So Indiana border, let's zoom in a little bit. Indiana border is kind of right out here. This is the squiggly Indiana border out here. So this activity is starting to get closer to the Indiana border here. So if you are in any of these counties near the Indiana border, like I said, Wayne County, you're getting hit right now. If you're in Hamilton County, if you are in White County, if you're in Edwards, Wabash County, all of you folks are going to be hit by this line of severe thunderstorms as it continues to trek off towards the east here. It is producing, like I said, damaging winds. It's also producing some hail as well, and we will continue to follow this on here as we go forward into time here. The good news is, once again, we have had no confirmation of any tornadoes so far with this particular line of storms. However, earlier this afternoon, a couple hours ago, we did have a couple of tornadoes with that first round of activity mid to late afternoon today. But so far, with this second round of activity, we have not had any tornado confirmations yet. But obviously, we are still, under the gun here. This activity continues to move off towards the east here across parts of southern Illinois, bringing the potential for damaging winds and hail. So once again, if you're in Franklin County, if you're in the community of Benton, you're probably going to get some gusty winds and hail as well coming up here very shortly, all the way up through Fairfield. If you're in Fairfield, you're about to be hit pretty much right about now with this line of severe thunderstorms. If you're in Hamilton County, White County, up towards Edwards, Wabash County, even up into Richland and Lawrence counties, you folks are all going to be impacted by what is now pretty much a solid line of severe thunderstorms here. So we're going to continue to watch this on, and like I said, it does have a strong possibility of producing damaging winds here. When you start to see these really, really bright colors right in here, that is a good indication here on radar that you are seeing some damaging winds in this corridor here. Like I said, just came through the Fairfield area. Pretty much all of Wayne County probably is being impacted by those damaging winds right now. That's Wayne County right there. And you can see those brightest colors, bright-ish colors are right over the Wayne County area here. So we're going to continue to watch that. The National Weather Service continues to have that tornado warning in effect for Wayne County as well. And that's just for the possibility of maybe, like a brief spin up somewhere in here. So we're going to continue to watch that possibility as well. But without a doubt, definitely getting some damaging winds and hail with this activity that continues to move through as well. Also, let's hop back down here to the Paducah area. Looks like that severe thunderstorm that went through the Paducah area did produce some hail. See some reports of quarter-size hail, maybe a little bit over quarter-size hail coming into the Paducah area just a short time ago with that severe thunderstorm that moved through that area. Also, once again, wanted to make note, out here across southern Missouri, this severe weather continues to move east and will probably make it into the far southern tip of Illinois around the Paducah, Cape Girardeau areas here in a couple of hours. That's the direction this stuff is moving from southern Missouri, so we'll have to keep an eye on that for you as well. And everyone tuning in regarding the map is too small. There is nothing I can do for you. That is why I continue to list off the city names here, and I also continue to list off the counties that are being affected as well, just due to the fact I really cannot make the city names on this map any bigger than they already are. I always urge you to watch these videos in landscape mode, which means turn your phone to the side. It'll make the video a little bit bigger than it normally would be if you're holding your phone just straight up and down, and that should give you at least a little bit better view of some of these city names. But I also keep calling a lot of the city names out, and I continue to call the county names out as well, just to give you a better idea of where some of this activity is as well. But once again, main story, southern Illinois here. We continue to see this line of severe thunderstorms here work across portions of southern Illinois as it continues to trek off towards the east and the east-southeast here. So once again, if you're places like Fairfield, you're probably getting hit right now, all the way down through Benton. You're getting hit right now as well. If you're out in Richland, Lawrence, Edwards, Wabash, White, and Hamilton counties, this line of severe thunderstorms is headed your way very shortly, capable of producing damaging winds, some hail as well. Also can't rule out a quick, brief spin-up of maybe a tornado as well within this line of storms. And as we zoom in, really Wayne County has been, hit hard as it looks right now, potentially with some damaging winds here across Wayne County. These very bright colors, they depict where those strongest winds are, and those winds are coming right here, right into these areas right here. So Jeffersonville, Fairfield, you all just got hit. It's coming into the community of Golden Gate, Mount Erie. Both of those are in Wayne County, and then going to push over into Edwards and Wabash County. That looks to be where the strongest damaging winds are going to push through at this point in time with this particular line segment of severe thunderstorms. All right, so once again, tornado warning still in effect for portions of Wayne County. That goes until 8:15 p.m. as we continue to track this line of severe thunderstorms as it continues to trek across portions of southern Illinois. Numerous reports of hail and damaging winds the past 2 hours or so as this has been moving across southern Illinois. And this is the second round of activity that we've seen across southern Illinois today. We saw the first round move across southern Illinois during the afternoon. And now we're seeing the second round of activity coming across southern portions of the state of Illinois now this evening. And this round is going to continue to trek off towards the east here over the next couple of hours, eventually moving off into Indiana. The Indiana border's kind of right out here, so eventually this activity will make it off into Indiana here over the next 1 to 2 hours. And then our eyes are going to turn back down to southern Missouri. This activity out in southern Missouri is going to clip southern Illinois here. For example, probably the Alexander, Pulaski, Massac County, Paducah area here a little bit later this evening and into early tonight. So it's been quite a severe weather day. It's pretty much living up to expectations. We've seen numerous severe thunderstorms already across southern Illinois. We continue to see them. We've seen a lot of hail today, a lot of damaging winds. We've seen a couple of tornadoes this afternoon across southern Illinois. So it has been quite the severe weather day across southern Illinois today. And going back to the radar wind velocity here, we continue to watch the strongest potential for damaging winds coming through Wayne County. This is about to enter Edwards and Wabash County. So if you're in Edwards County, Wabash County, be on the lookout for some damaging winds headed your way very shortly. That's what these brighter colors represent. Once again, you see these very bright greens, even some blues in here. That is those stronger damaging winds that are once again going to be moving from Wayne County into Edwards and eventually Wabash County as well. No new information regarding this tornado warning. I think they're just going to let this tornado warning ride. Not seeing as many indications here. If you recall before, we were seeing a couple of areas where there were some kinks in the line. Well, that's kind of evened out here. Not as much going on here now. So it would not be surprising if they just let this tornado warning ride until 8:15 and then they end up letting it expire. As it looks right now, nothing showing up imminent for tornado potential right at this particular moment in time. However, that does change very quickly sometimes in these situations. See a couple more severe weather reports coming in. One of them from out in Kell, that's in Marion County, power poles down. Also see a report out of Johnsonville in Wayne County, a report of 60 to 70 mile per hour winds with dime-size hail. So these storms do continue to produce damaging winds and hail as they continue to trek off towards the east here. So once again, if you're in Edwards, Wabash County, even up into Richland, Lawrence County, down to White in Hamilton County, all of this activity is headed your way. This is the line of severe thunderstorms. Let's put that in a different color. So this is your line of severe thunderstorms right here. And this is Edwards, Wabash, Richland, Lawrence, White, and Hamilton counties. If you're in any of those counties, this is headed your direction. It does have a history of producing damaging winds, 60 to 70 miles per hour, tree damage, power lines down, also some hail as well. See another report here from Xenia down in Clay County. Wind gusts of 60 mile per hour as well. So this continues to produce reports of damaging winds and hail as it continues to track off towards the east here. And we continue to watch the potential from time to time of maybe isolated chance of a little brief spin up in this corridor. Haven't really seen as many radar indications of that recently, but nonetheless, the National Weather Service does continue to hold on to that tornado warning for Wayne County until 8:15 p.m. as well. All right, here, let's head back to the video chat here. Cheyenne checking in from Carmi. You are going to be getting in on some of this activity very soon, so you are located right down here where I'm circling. This activity is headed your way. You could get some damaging winds and hail in your neck of the woods down there. That's White County where you're located. See another report here out of Wayne County of a 67 mile per hour wind gust that's just north of Jeffersonville. So it is confirmed that this line of severe thunderstorms is producing 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. So once again, if you're in Edwards, Wabash County, up into Richland and Lawrence County as well, you are very likely to see damaging winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour. All right, here, let's continue on. So once again, where these brighter colors show up here, this is once again the radar wind velocity. So this is the radar looking into the storms and out of the storms and looking to see an estimate of what the winds are. And as you can see, these really bright colors here, this represents those strong damaging winds that have been reported 60 to 70 miles per hour, producing tree damage and power lines down here. This is moving and spreading out to the east northeast, and the east southeast here. So, like I said, if you are in Edwards County, which is right here, if you're in Wabash County, which is right here, if you're up in parts of Richland County, about half of Richland County, in Lawrence County as well. That is where the best chance of that damaging wind is going to be with this severe thunderstorm activity as it moves through. And it looks like what we're starting to see happen here is this has turned into a nice little bowing line segment, or pretty much a bow echo here. See how it takes on this bowed shape here? That's what we call a bow echo right here. And a lot of times what happens in these bow echo situations is you get your line that forms and it kind of curls up here. And you almost get a little bit of a vortex at the top of this bow. And what happens is you get very strong winds that rush in on the bottom side of that little vortex on this line. Sort of forms a rear inflow jet. So that's what happens with these bowing situations here. Like I said, you get the line of storms, a little vortex forms at the top, and you get these stronger winds to rush in on the underside of that vortex. It's called the rear inflow jet, and that is what tends to produce those damaging winds. Now, you know, the level of winds that make it to the surface always differs in different situations. Like in this case, it looks like we're getting 60 to 70 mile per hour winds down to the surface. But as this is actually getting closer to the radar, because the radar is actually located right here. So that's our radar. So this line of storms is actually getting really close to the radar. And as it's getting closer, these colors here showing the damaging winds are actually getting brighter. So I believe what's happening here is we're starting to see that little, we got our line of storms, we're starting to see that vortex develop here on the north end, and we're starting to see that rear inflow jet really start to develop on this line of storms here, especially up here closer to where that vortex would be here. Very, very bright colors coming into Mount Erie right now. You could be seeing damaging winds up to 75 miles per hour. Right now if you're in the vicinity of the Mount Erie area. And these damaging winds, like I said, continue to move off towards the east. So once again, if you are in Edwards County, Wabash County, up into parts of Richland and Lawrence counties, definitely be on the lookout here because we do have damaging winds and some hail that are moving into your area. So widespread wind damage will be possible. We've been receiving reports of wind damage and expect to continue to see some reports of wind damage with this activity as well. Jenny, yes, this is Illinois. We only cover the state of Illinois. This is Illinois. It's southern Illinois here we're talking about. And what we are covering is severe thunderstorms down here across southern Illinois. So this is a little bit of a wider view across southern Illinois here. I'm going to paint a couple of things on the screen. This is the Indiana border out here. Indiana-Kentucky border. We got the Kentucky border down here with Illinois. So these storms are approaching the Indiana-Illinois border, which is right here. And they are going to continue to move that way here over the next hour or two. And they are capable and have the history of producing damaging winds and hail along with them as well. Now, most notable right at this point in time that we're watching is sort of this area right here. We have this bow echo that has developed here, and it continues to move off towards the east here. And you can see how it takes on this bow shape here, and it kind of curls back up towards the top. A lot of times at the top here, we'll get a little bit of a vortex to develop up here a lot of times, and then we'll get an enhancement of those damaging winds coming in right here as we get a rear inflow jet that develops into this little bit of a bow echo, and this thing is going to race out to the east here and continue to produce damaging winds along with it. So once again, if you're in places like Edwards County, you're probably getting those damaging winds right now. If you're in Wabash County, they're coming your way. Southern Richland, southern Lawrence County, maybe even into northern White County, you're probably seeing those damaging winds as well. And those damaging winds, you can see them show up here on this graphic here. These are the radar wind velocities. You see these brighter green colors, even a little bit of a blue in there. Those are those damaging winds that we continue to watch for as this bow echo continues to shift eastward. All right, here. tornado warning for Wayne County still exists for another 13 minutes or so. It's set to expire at 8:15 p.m., but for the most part, the storm has pretty much almost moved out of Wayne County now. It's about to be exiting Wayne County, so that tornado warning will be expiring very, very shortly for Wayne County. Otherwise, we do continue to watch these storms as they continue to shift off towards the east here. Still capable of producing damaging winds and hail. You can see this bow echo that has developed here, and it continues to race off towards an easterly direction here. Continues to be capable of producing damaging winds and hail. So once again, if you're in Edwards County, Wabash County, parts of Richland, Lawrence counties, even into parts of White County, you're going to see some damaging winds and hail with this line of storms as it is moving as well. Once again, damaging winds and hail expected with these storms as they continue to move off towards the east. And they are approaching the Indiana border. I'll draw the Indiana border once again, kind of zigzags, does its zigzag through here with the river. So these storms are getting really close now to the Indiana border. So like I said, Richland, Lawrence, Edwards, Wabash counties here, even down into Hamilton and White County. These storms are all severe, have a history of producing damaging winds and hail, and they continue to have the capability of doing so as well as they quickly continue to shift off towards the east here. All right here, Tristan checking in from Richland County. The storm should be out of your area within the next hour, probably less than an hour. You're up here. This is Richland County up here. Here's Olney right here. So these storms will be moving out of Richland County here within the next hour, probably within the next 45 minutes or so if you wanted to bring it down even a little bit more. And then your threat in Richland County is going to come to an end for you. All right here, see Sonny checking in, and first of all, Ryan checking in from Sumner. That's actually not far from the Lawrenceville area, just to the west of Lawrenceville. This line, you're kind of right out here. This line is headed in your direction, so prepare for the possibility of some damaging winds and hail in your area with it as well. Sonny checking in from down in Johnston City. And that is down here to the south of the Benton area. You're actually getting split with some thunderstorms. You're kind of right in this area right here. So you have a storm off to your northeast, a storm off to your southeast, a storm off to your south, and they're moving away from you for right now. So your severe weather threat there where you're located in Johnston City, your severe weather threat may just about almost be over with now, almost. Biggest story right now is this Boeing line of severe thunderstorms, though, that continues to move in an easterly direction here across portions of southern Illinois, still capable of producing damaging winds and hail. Once again, if you're in places like Richland County, Lawrence County, Edwards, Wabash, White, Hamilton counties, you are all in the path of this line of severe thunderstorms. It has a history of producing damaging winds and hail as well as it continues to move through. And let's head a little bit back to the south again. See what's going on in Missouri here. So we continue to have this severe weather activity down across the Ozark, West Plains, Missouri area. And this activity is still looking like it's going to clip into parts of southern Illinois here just a couple hours from now. So if you are down here, still parts of southern Illinois, this round of activity coming out of southern Missouri is going to be headed your way eventually. So if you're in places like Union County, Johnson County, Hardin County, Pope, Pulaski, Alexander, Massac counties, that activity out there in Missouri will be heading your way in just a couple of hours from now, and it will have the potential to be severe during that time as well. All right, coming back up here into southern Illinois once again, we continue to watch these severe thunderstorms as they continue to push eastward here across southern Illinois. This is the second round of activity that we have seen across these areas today. This round is more of a hail and damaging wind threat at this point in time. Once again, it's affecting places like Richland, Lawrence, Edwards, Wabash, White, Hamilton, even down into Williamson, Saline counties. All of you folks are being impacted with this new line of severe thunderstorms that's kind of working eastward here across southern Illinois. Has a history of producing, like I said, damaging winds, also producing some hail with it as well. Not seeing any new recent damage reports here coming out. I see a report of half-inch hail down in Thompsonville, that's in Franklin County. A report of pea-size hail down in Benton. That's Franklin County when that storm moved through just a little while ago. So these storms are, like I said, producing damaging winds. They're also producing some hail as well. Up to quarter-size hail at times. We've seen some reports of that. Part of this line up north here, moving into the Edwards, Wabash, Richland, Lawrence County area, that line of storms has been producing some damaging winds along with it, upwards of 60 to 70 miles per hour. We've been getting some reports of some wind damage, including in the Mount Vernon area, also in the Fairfield area. So these storms have been damaging. They've been producing wind damage. They've been producing some hail as well. And this activity does continue to move off towards the east. This is the Indiana border right there. So this activity is really getting close to the Indiana border now as it continues to trek off towards the east here as we follow it along this evening. Good news is we don't have any tornado warnings in effect right now, so that's the real positive news at this point in time. Tristan checking in from Richland County, mentioning the storm is in your area now. Let's zoom in on that area for you. Here we have Olney up here, Olney, Calhoun, Parkersburg, Claremont, Sumner. That's getting into Lawrence County now. Speaking of which, here's Lawrenceville. So all these communities here, this is Richland and Lawrence County up here. All of you folks are getting in on the north end of that line of severe thunderstorms. Like I said, Olney, Calhoun, Parkersburg, Claremont, Sumner, Lawrenceville, Pinkstaff, Birds, Billette, St. Francisville, Vincennes on the border, Russellville on the border of Indiana. All of you folks are under that severe thunderstorm warning and have that severe thunderstorm heading your way. A little bit further south here, let's jump down into Edwards and Wabash County. If you're in places like Lancaster, Allendale, Patton, Mount Carmel, Keensburg, Belmont, Graysville, Kelvin, all you folks are under the gun for this line of severe thunderstorms heading your way as well. A little bit further south, we have another severe thunderstorm moving into the McLeansboro area. Going to be heading towards Springerton, Enfield, Norris City as well. This storm is going to be heading your way across those areas. We have another thunderstorm down here a little bit further south that is heading towards the Harrisburg area. Not severe at this point in time, but could become severe as it continues to strengthen. Here's Carrier Mills, Mitchellsville, Harrisburg right here, El Dorado, Equality. And I mentioned some of those towns earlier because these are some of the same areas that were impacted by severe weather with the first round of activity earlier this afternoon. See another report of damage large trees down and power lines down on Highway 161. This is just to the west of Highway 45. That's in Wayne County. So a report of trees down and power lines down on Highway 161. That's just west of Highway 45, and that is in Wayne County, just to the north of Jeffersonville. So these storms, like I said, they do have a history of producing damaging winds and also producing some hail along with them as well. And this activity is getting ready to push into the Indiana border region. So once again, Indiana border is kind of, I'm going to paint it on the screen here. This is the Indiana border right there. So this bow is about to move into Indiana here very, very shortly. So if you happen to be tuning in from places like Vincennes, that's just across the border, Indiana, there could get some damaging winds and hail as well. And then the tail end of this line, from McLeansboro down through Harrisburg, down through Vienna, this tail end of the line is also going to approach and move into not only the border of Indiana here, but also the border of Kentucky down here as well. So these storms will be exiting the state here probably within the next hour or so here, but for now they continue to traverse southern portions of the state of Illinois here. Like I said, producing some damaging winds, producing some hail as well. All right, here, we're now approaching 8:15 p.m., and we continue to track severe thunderstorms here across the southern portions of the state of Illinois, from Lawrence and Richland County up north, all the way down to Johnson and Pope counties down south. That's kind of the north and south axis of where this line of severe thunderstorms is moving at this point in time. You can see this big bow shape here. That is a little bit of a bow echo there that's racing off towards the east across Edwards, Wabash, Richland, Lawrence counties. That line of severe thunderstorms for that area is capable of producing some damaging winds and hail. We also have this severe thunderstorm down in Hamilton County near McLeansboro, going to be moving towards Carmi and White County here very shortly as well. And then a non-severe thunderstorm moving into the Harrisburg area in Saline County here very shortly as well. So all this activity, as I mentioned before, continues to track off towards the east here as it approaches the Indiana and Kentucky borders. Once again, Indiana border is right here. This is our Indiana border, and this is the Indiana-Kentucky border, and then the Kentucky border is down here. So that's Kentucky. That's Indiana. So all of this activity, as you can see here, really continues to move closer to those borders. Just gives you an idea of where everything is on the map here, since I have it a little bit widely zoomed out here. But this line of severe thunderstorms is getting really close to crossing the border there into Indiana. And that storm down around the Harrisburg area has now gone severe warned. So there's a severe thunderstorm warning for you folks down in the vicinity of the Harrisburg area. That storm capable of producing some damaging winds and hail as it moves toward the Indiana, Kentucky, Illinois border, sort of that tri-state area. So we continue to watch these severe thunderstorms as they have a history of producing some damaging winds and hail down here across southern Illinois, and as they are about to move off into both Indiana and Kentucky here before too long. All right, so taking it back out to a wide view here, we obviously have the severe thunderstorms we're watching and following right now in southern Illinois. Those are going to continue to track off towards the east. We have this other area of severe thunderstorms across southern Missouri that is also going to track into southern Illinois here within the next couple of hours. So far southern Illinois, you could have continued severe weather threat. Obviously, we have this activity moving through now with a severe weather threat. And then once again, this activity will be moving into southern Illinois within the next few hours. And it, too, will hold a severe weather threat along with it as well. So with that said, I think we're going to wrap up our severe weather coverage for right now. Once again, we do have severe thunderstorms ongoing down here across southern Illinois. Those are very soon going to be moving off into Indiana and Kentucky. So let's zoom out here to give you a really wide view of things. So here, this is southern Illinois right here. That's southern Illinois right there. The first round of severe thunderstorms from this afternoon is down in Kentucky and down in Tennessee. The second round of severe thunderstorms is about to move off into Indiana and Kentucky, still affecting southern Illinois for a little while longer. And then our next round of severe thunderstorms is down in southern Missouri. That will move across parts of southern Illinois within the next several hours. So all in all, still going to be dealing with a severe weather threat across portions of southern Illinois here over the next several hours. So don't let your guard down. Even though this second round of activity is moving through, there's a little bit more that's going to come in across southern Illinois here out of Missouri, and all modes of severe weather will continue to be possible with that activity as well. So once again, if you're in southern Illinois, keep an eye to the weather. We have our second round of severe weather that continues to move across southern Illinois right now, and our next round of severe weather is going to be moving in from southern Missouri into far southern Illinois here as we go through the next couple of hours. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Let's take one more view here of these storms here in southern Illinois right now. Once again, Indiana border is right here. This is our Indiana border. It's the Indiana border with Kentucky. Here's our Kentucky border. So we're going to, once again, here's Kentucky. Here's Indiana. And you can see these storms up to the north. They are now pushing into Indiana now. They're starting to push towards and into Indiana up north. The storms a little bit further south here will be moving into both Indiana and Kentucky here within the next hour or so. So once again, we continue to watch these severe thunderstorms move through. Looks like we have a new report of some damage out of Jeffersonville in Wayne County. Another report of trees down and power lines down in Jeffersonville in Wayne County. That was as this line of severe thunderstorms worked through over the past little while. You could see how they really blew east through this area here, producing some significant damaging winds as it appears in some of those areas. So that activity is now starting to push off into Indiana, as I mentioned. We are still watching this other activity a little bit further to the south, though, as it continues to affect parts of southern Illinois, but that, too, will be moving off into portions of Indiana and Kentucky here over the next hour or so. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up for now. As I just stated, we're going to continue to see some severe thunderstorms in southern Illinois here over the next hour or so before this activity moves into Indiana and Kentucky. Then we have more activity in southern Missouri that's going to scrape into portions of southern Illinois here within the next couple of hours. So we still could see some more severe weather as we head later into this evening and early tonight. But the good news is, as it looks right now, the severe weather threat will come to an end by midnight across southern Illinois. So once again, the severe weather threat will come to an end by midnight across southern Illinois. But until then, over the next, 3.5 hours, we're still going to have a severe weather threat down there across southern Illinois as it looks at this point in time. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up for now. We will continue to monitor things through the remainder of this evening and into tonight. We will continue to provide additional updates as needed. But for now, southern Illinois, continue to keep an eye on weather conditions, and we will keep you posted as needed.